Hello everyone, RT911 here, and today we're going to be going over a question that many of y'all have been having, and that is Farming Simulator 2019 really worth it? Should you buy it? And based on my experience and the hours I've got in, I'm going to be telling you whether it is or not, based on my own personal opinion, as well as some cold hard facts. Note this video will be a little bit long, but that's mainly for the purposes of being informative and helping you make a good decision. So, let's get started then. The graphics, obviously they're vastly improved. If you look at the sunset, the skybox, really that is a drastic improvement. Finally we're seeing some of the modern graphics capabilities in Farming Simulator. And really, for a simulation game, graphics like this are simply, it's amazing. It's out of the box, because when you just look at the lighting, when you look at the clouds, the skybox, as I've said, moon, you could say it's a little thing, but really, it's big. The sky, just to look at it and to see it while you're playing, it's simply beautiful, and to see the birds flying around, it really is immersive and adds a lot of life to a game that previously didn't exist. Previously you'd see creases in the skybox when you got too close to the edge of the map. Well, not now, that doesn't happen. So as far as graphics go, there really is no comparison between Farming Simulator 2017 and Farming Simulator 2019. 2019 is vastly superior in graphics. Yes, I said it. 2017 did have more dynamic lighting. Yes, it did. It was able to support more lights, light sources, better lighting. But ultimately, the skybox was really the same as it had been for a while. If you got a really good map like Lone Oak, what they did with the skybox there, they had a nice sort of... It was a beautiful skybox. It was still flat, but it felt a lot nicer than the vanilla one. As far as graphics go, 2019 is definitely superior. If you love beautiful new graphics, then Farming Simulator 2019 is a must for you. The upgrade really does improve just drastically the lighting, everything about it. It really is a beautiful game. Now, something some people will complain about is, I don't like the depth of field, and well, I guess it's not the best. Like, it's just sort of weird and blurry sometimes, so really it's quite easy to remedy that. And I have a video on this, the specifics, but this is all you gotta do. And then, boom, no more depth of field. That's what a lot of people complain about, actually, is that depth of field. But there, it's easy to remove. There you go. Depth of field gone. Maybe depth of field may be something that's a drawback to you, but it's fixable, so just keep that in mind if that's holding you back. The physics. The physics are quite a bit different than the last game, I'll say, and you might be watching and say, but RT911, I don't see is that these graphics are so much different. Like, they don't look different now that I'm watching right here. But when you do get your hands on the game, you will notice quite a drastic difference in the physics. Actually, it's a lot smoother. Your steering is. And now, something that has been integrated is, previously it was a mod in 2017, ground response. You'll see that the tractor rocks when on the dirt here, and that really is a nice touch. And as well, you'll notice that gear shifting is a lot smoother, startup and stopping a lot smoother as well. And let's just actually go to our truck here, and just the lighting as well on these tail lights and the headlights and everything. It's now direct point. They don't use Coronas anymore, apparently. I think you still can if you wanted to, but they don't as a default. It looks wonderful. But anyway, getting back to the physics, You really do feel, as you start to get going, when you stop, it takes a little bit of time. When you want to get going in the other direction, it takes a little time. Really a feeling of momentum and weight. It really is a nice addition, and it makes driving quite a bit more enjoyable. Even in the Mahindra Retriever, you can still feel a little bit of weight to it. It's not a whole lot of weight because, let's face it, it's a little machine. The physics are still somewhat arcadey as they were in the last game. Let's just show here. When you jump, it's not 100% accurate to real life. Which, honestly, real life physics aren't always the most fun physics. When you're driving, it's generally an enjoyable experience, and it's a nice improvement in stability to Farming Simulator 2017. The gameplay. Alright, so as far as gameplay goes, it's pretty much the same thing as it was in the last version. Farming Simulator. You farm. That's what the game's all about. That's what it's always been about. There has been a few new additions, such as new crops, oats, and cotton, and you also have sugarcane as a default, which was part of the Platinum expansion in 2017. Now, this extension of those crops, true, that could be added in mods in 2017, so that's something you gotta think about as well, is that in 2017, that could be a mod. You don't really need to get Farming Simulator 2019 just for new crops. However, there are new mechanics, which often you don't see new mechanics integrated in a mod. For instance, the new mechanics, they're liming, I believe. Horses, you don't really see proper integration of horses by anyone there. Of course, there's still all the usual jobs like fertilizing and everything, but there's lime and herbicide now, and there's a few different things you can see as you go through here. Yeah, as far as gameplay, this is pretty much what you do. You plow your fields, you cultivate your fields, you plant your fields, spray them, you weed them, and you harvest them the same. So, if you enjoyed the last games, everything there, you'll probably enjoy this one. Plus, there's new contracts. One that I especially find really cool is the delivery job. I'm not sure if they have one here. Yeah, transporting. I really enjoyed taking the truck and going and emptying the grain and whatever, but now you can do that as a little job instead of having to harvest your whole field to do that. Another big change would be the multiplayer. You can now have teams of players work with farms, and each team of players can have their own farm, and they all work together under that farm, and you can have competitions and so on, and you can have all different farms, and you can have one player per farm, or yeah, it can mix it up a little bit and compete against each other, or you can work together on your own farm. It really is quite a cool mechanic, and it really does add on nicely to the previous games, the multiplayer setup they had, because now different players can run their own farms, and yeah, that the competition aspect didn't really exist in previous games, so it's really nice to have here and to be able to play against other players. Really a cool addition to the game. So if that's something you'd be interested in, new multiplayer features, game modes type thing, definitely do consider Farming Simulator 2019. And of course, one of the coolest features in the game is that you are able to now buy land. That is really quite a cool addition. I'm not sure if this is possible through a mod in 17. I think I might have seen something like that. But ultimately, the biggest thing about this, it's amazing. You can buy pieces of land if you have enough money. And then, with that land, you can do whatever you want. You can plant trees, you can build a farm, you can place all kinds of decorative placeables, which we'll see in the shop here. Under placeables, you can place decorations and functional things that will help you build a farm ground. And it's really quite cool. You can make your farm your own, and that was one of the things that really stood out to me about this new game, is that you buy sections of land and then you can make whatever you want out of it. It really, really is cool that way. And that's not something you can do in 17. That really is one of the changes that really stands out, and I do think it's definitely a big improvement. So, some of the biggest improvements I find to the game, of course the graphics is a major improvement. The skybox, as I said, that's really the most enjoyable thing I've got out of the game so far. That skybox is just so beautiful to watch, but it's really the little details as well and improvements that really make a big difference. And I have a video on this as well that goes more in depth, but just being able to walk over grass and be able to push it over, and when you place placeables, the ground is automatically changed for it. So no more grass growing through your placeables. That was really a big beef of mine with the last game. I really didn't enjoy having a placeable garage and then just having grass coming through the floor all the time. That was really, really annoying. So this is really a wonderful addition to the game. And you've seen the birds as well, the air on the field. Really, just the little things add to immersion. And just the player model when he's steering and the way he uses the pedals and everything. There's a lot of little things that really make all the difference in the world. Something else you'll notice is the models themselves of the vehicles. They are often a lot more detailed than they were in 17, and you'll see a lot of things like speedometers, gear shifters, and interior lights, dash lights. You'll see a lot of little changes to these areas as well. Notice how when you turn on that, the lights come on the dash, and notice the gear shifter knob and everything. All really quite cool and, again, very immersive. So let's look into equipment now. Is it worth getting as far as equipment goes? Well, you can add equipment through mods, but for now, let's look at the standard equipment. So obviously, there's a lot of equipment. There's a lot of brands. It'd take like an hour to show each vehicle. So yeah, if you want to see a complete list of all the equipment, then let me know. But trust me, there are quite a few pieces of equipment, and that new brand, of course, John Deere. I did notice, however, there was a large influx of mods for John Deere's for Farming Simulator 2017. So perhaps if you just want John Deere's, if that's what you were upgrading for, you could stick with 2017, because there's been a large influx of John Deere's I've seen happen. But there is seriously a lot of equipment in this game and a lot of different things you can buy. Yeah, there's gotta be over 100 pieces of equipment. A lot of them are like little things like trailers and whatnot. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to play around with, and you got big bags. I believe those were mods in previous versions, and you got all kinds of things. You can even buy bales now, default. And of course, animal pens. Oh yeah, and horses and dogs. As far as it goes, there are some new, let's call them pets. They don't really do a whole lot, but yeah, there you go. You can have a pet. And basically, he just runs around and woofs. So, if that's something you want just for like fun, it's just sort of an immersive little thing, except when he's phasing through the side of the house. That's not so immersive at all. But it's just like little things, I guess, that you can add. Alright, so let's talk about mods now for a little bit. So as far as mods go, let's face it, this game is relatively new, so there ain't many mods to speak of. Mods are a little hard to come by right now, and pretty much the only types of mods you will find are basically just reskins and edits of the original vehicles. Really, they haven't got going yet with mods. It'll likely be a few months before we really see mods coming out and some sort of modding community starting to grow, because right now basically modders are just trying to figure out the game and all the new changes to the code and everything. Myself, I'm trying to figure out how to get conversion to work from 17 to 19. That'll likely take a little while. So if you are in this game for the mods, you may want to hold off a little bit until some mods have come out. But with how much default vanilla equipment there is, if you're just in it for the farming, then there's likely enough to satisfy you for quite a while. So really, it's up to you. Do you want to wait for more mods to come out, see if they're going to come out, more maps perhaps? I'll touch on this actually right now. As far as the maps go, the maps are grand. They're beautiful. The map Ravenfield, or is it Ravenport? I'm not exactly sure right now. And Felsbrunn, they're both beautiful maps. Felsbrunn in particular, it gives me vibes of Farming Simulator 2011's map. It feels like a sort of going back to the roots of Farming Simulator 2011. And you'll notice it too, it seems like there's smaller fields. Some fields are quite a bit smaller, which is really similar to the older games as well. And while all this is pretty nice, one thing I found is the maps are grand, they're beautiful, but they sort of feel cramped. Because the map, while it's beautiful and grand, it's not really that big when you get into it. So anyway, it's something you'd have to take into consideration too, as far as maps. These maps are the default ones. They're often the ones that hold the longest, and often the ones you'll revert to. That's why I did in 2017, always went back to Goldcrest Valley. So you'll have to take into consideration, are these maps for you? They feel rather small is all I'm going to say on that. Let's talk about the similarities in the games. So Farming Simulator 2017 and 19, obviously they're both farming games, we went over that already. A lot of these things, the new crops, the new animals, and general things like this repair icon in the bottom right there, repair for the tractor. You can get a lot of these different changes, oats, and so on, in Farming Simulator 17. However, they won't be as polished, since Farming Simulator themselves, if they add it to the game, it's going to be more polished usually than a modder can do. So likely that's something you'll see, is that there are a lot of things you can get as mods for Farming Simulator 17, but in Farming Simulator 19, where they're actually incorporated into the game, it does often phase in better because it's done more professionally. Not saying modders don't do a good job, they do, and they often make the game way better through their mods, but when the developers themselves put something in the game, they really go all out. They do a good job as far as quality goes. So Farming Simulator 17, if you were thinking about the Platinum expansion, that I believe costs $20, and that's CAD. But if you get Farming Simulator 19, often what you get is Farming Simulator 17, the Platinum Edition, is included in Farming Simulator 2019 basically, because you get the map Estancia La Pacho, which is the map from Farming Simulator 17's Platinum Edition, plus you get the sugarcane crop, which was exclusive to Farming Simulator 2017 Platinum Edition. So think of it this way. If you were thinking of upgrading to the Platinum Edition of 2017, or even if you weren't, when you get Farming Simulator 2019, you basically get the Platinum Edition for free. That's actually a pretty good deal. So all things considered, I would lean towards saying that yes, you should get Farming Simulator 2019. It can be a good deal. And really, I don't see any reason why the replayability shouldn't be as good as 2017. Unless, of course, you enjoyed the smaller activities such as the collectibles, or one thing I've noticed is there's not really many Easter eggs as they're called in this game, they don't seem to have really gone into that as much as just trying to make the game beautiful, so there is some charm perhaps that's lost. And if you're looking to mod, Farming Simulator 2017 would likely be a lot easier to mod, so you might want to stay there. Modding 17 will likely be a lot easier for you, so that's something to take in consideration as well. But yeah, all things considered, I do recommend Farming Simulator 19 if you can get a good deal on it. Personally, I got it for $38.24 Canadian, so that's basically $30 US. So that's not overall too bad. That's just $10 more than Platinum Edition for expansion for 2017. So that's basically how I viewed it, just an upgrade with all these big changes, but yeah, it really does play rather nice, and I think if you enjoyed the previous versions, you'd enjoy this version because it does stay true to the franchise. As I said, there are some things that are lost, Easter eggs and collectibles and some other little things, which ultimately that is sort of sad, but it's still true to the franchise. It's still a farming game, but hopefully we'll be seeing some more wide open maps. So ultimately the choice comes down to you. So what do you think? Will you be getting Farming Simulator 2019 or not? Let me know whether or not you will, and why or why not in the comments below. Also let me know, what is your favorite addition to Farming Simulator 2019? Or something that makes you want to buy it. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments below as to why or why not you should buy Farming Simulator 2019.